Today, the Halda is silent. No one is typing the typewriter nor the computer. No sounds are heard. Jörn Donner's offices on the north shore of Helsinki are quiet. The bookshop where he interviewed many, where he was interviewed so many times, has photographs celebrating, remembering him. On the wall of what used to be the main post office, an exhibition of his photographs is advertised. After his death, thousands of photos were found, and for some, the idea that a man who directed countless of films could also handle framing for photography was apparently a surprise. A selection was made and curated into an exhibition and a book. The exhibition was held in Villa Hakasalmen from the 31st of March to the 3rd of September 2023. Villa, located nearby the National Museum, Parliament, and the Central Library, which Donner lobbied for years. Donner wrote both fact and fiction, both in Finland and in Sweden, about Europe, the world, his work in the Parliament, about Ingmar Bergman and Field Marshal Mannerheim, and of course, Berlin. Constantly using both fact and fiction in books, in his films, often in a diary-like manner. The work always carrying the involvement of the author, the presence and mark of the persona and personality created and lived in public. The exhibition focused only on the photographs taken between 1951 and 68, a period of intense traveling for him, like his whole life. Hopefully at some point photographs from the other decades will become available to be seen too. But in 68, the crazy year of Europe, Donner travels around the world and writes a book about it, visiting countless of countries. Some of the photos in the exhibition thus have already been published in the book, but many others are shown for the first time. The exhibition focusing on what Donner was watching and capturing at the time, and not so much us watching him in various places and positions, as was the habit for decades during his career. Passports and documents, press cards, maps and memories from travels. When he gathered material for his report books and visited film festivals. In New York, one hotel especially is a favorite for him. Apparently they knew how to make a dry martini. Already between 51 and 68, the map starts to fill with dots of places visited. This continued for the rest of his life. The Berlin book, also available in English and Swedish, continues to be one of the best books on Cold War Berlin, the divided city under control of the Western Allies and Soviet Union. To this day, every now and then, it is possible to see the report book quoted in newer books about Cold War Berlin. In Paris, Marlene Dietrich lends her apartment to him and Harriet Anderson. The exhibition showing also letters to Dietrich and Henri Langlois and Visconti. In Rome, he meets Visconti, later befriends Antonioni. By choosing only black and white photographs to the exhibition, it sets it clearly in a certain time of the past, distant or close, depending on each viewer. Black and white perhaps also adding to the artistry of the photographs. From Scotland to Asia, from Kitts to Kirk Douglas, to the deserts of Egypt, Donner is documenting and discovering, researching for his many projects. In 1968, he visits also Los Angeles. Decades later, he receives the Oscar for Best Picture for producing Ingmar Bergman's Fanny and Alexander. Possibly the most famous and talked about photograph of the exhibition is the one where Robert F. Kennedy is at LAX only some weeks before his assassination. Published already when the World Book came out, but for many a Finn in the 60s being close to such a historical person and event, of course, makes a good copy even in today's media. The museum shop also had items related to the exhibition for sale. The photographs are also available as a book called Traveling, available in Finnish, Swedish, and English. The size of the book is similar to a book about Marlene Dietrich, which Donner felt was a good size for a book. That is true that the size is good, but sadly for the photographs it does not always do justice, as it is difficult to browse and some become difficult to view. Whether Himalayas or the Nordic Midsummer Nights festivities, Donner cast his nets wide, fishing for fish and fishing for the next subject to write, for the next film to do. Recently, his offices became available as a residency, and a book about the library, one of the biggest private book collections in Finland, has also been published. On his desk, for decades, Donner kept a quote from Petronius.